Yo, what's up? What's up? What do I hate iPhone? What's going on? How's everybody doing today? What's going on? How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of Community of Knowledge, where we drop history, drop esoteric knowledge. All right. We could probably go here, buddy. Okay. So as we normally do, so as we normally do, we all right, let's see. Let's close this. That must be the whack phone. Forget you, iPhone. 1 second, y'all. We gonna damn. And pardon my delay. Let's go. All right. Okay. So one more second, y'all. Gotta get these devices off of my internet so we don't have a choppy broadcast. Also, oh, that's one in the background. All right, and hopefully that's not. Okay, so how's everybody doing, y'all? First of all, let me thank everybody who wished me birthday wishes. You know, I normally don't put stuff up like that, but I said, what the heck. I also want to really, truly thank people who donated to my Cash App. That was really awesome of you. All right. No matter what you donated, I truly appreciate it. All right. I understand people did what they could. And to me, it's the thought that counts. So truly, truly, truly appreciate that. Mad respect. All right. Some of y'all went above and beyond. And I really, really, really appreciate that as well, man. All right. It was truly unexpected. But I appreciate the love and I appreciate the support. All right, so today we are going to go back to the very first episode, really, of the Community of Knowledge when it was the Church of Knowledge. Truly, I came out with some hard-hitting stuff at the very beginning, okay? And I know we got a lot of new people now that's not even going to be aware to what we about to see and talk about and discuss, but we're about to wake you up, all right? what we're about to watch is called Ancient Alien Origins. Okay, and what this is going to show you is how, the origins of your religions came to be. And it's going to make the connection, which a lot of you don't even know about. All right. And this is what I'll be saying, man. You got people who pray to God, worship God, and we talking about the God specifically of the Bible. And you don't know you don't know who he is, what he is, where he came from. You just picking up something. It's just like you picked up, a burger a cookie on the street. You picked it up, you looked at it, and you ate it. That's really what religion is today, because people they're not doing no research. All right. What you really don't know is how and why the serpent is associated with all of your religions. Every single last one of them. It's don't got nothing to do with who you think is the devil. Oh, well, it's the devil. That's folklore and what your preacher's saying. All right? It's not exactly real. It's not exactly true. Vatican Hall is in the shape of a serpent. Explain that. The serpent is related to your religions. Vatican Hall is in the shape of a serpent. Explain it. Make it make sense. How could that be? Why is it? Why is Vatican Hall in the shape of a serpent? Keep that in mind as you watch this program. And I'm going to be interrupting, all right, and explaining stuff as we go along like I normally do. All right. But ask yourself, why is Vatican Hall in the shape of a serpent? As you watch these researchers connect the serpent and who the serpent is and what the serpent is to your religious, to your religions. All right. So without further ado, let's get to it. Let me see, everybody can see pretty good. Oh my God, would this thing act right for once?
Over 5,000 years before Christ, an amazing thing happens that would change the course of human history. Hidden from us by misunderstanding, mistranslation, and clouded in mythology, the birth of religion on this planet was no mere accident. It was the result of an alien invasion on a vast scale, and it sparked the worship of the ancient gods. Those gods are the oldest recorded figures of worship anywhere in history. They are the root of all the major world religions. They gave rise to the great powers of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and more. They spread outwards around the world and were the genesis of a special holy bloodline that remains with us today. One of their descendants would be caught, beaten, and crucified.
Notice he said, one of their descendants, talking about these aliens who came here, all right, which we got recorded history of that goes back 5,000-6,000 years. Notice he said Jesus is one of their descendants. Now, is this something that we can prove? Yes. In the Talmud of Emmanuel, you have Jesus himself explaining to you that he is from the bloodline of Adam. All right. Adam is Anunnaki. Okay. But I'm going to let him keep going.
And yet he would rise from his grave unrecognizable and accompanied by messengers of light.
Here's another thing, all right? I'm gonna let that stand what he said about him rising from the grave. He did not. He rose from a tomb, but he wasn't dead. All right. But here's the main thing. He was in disguise and nobody recognized him. If you know the story of the crucifixion and afterwards what happened. Nobody recognized him. Jesus actually walked down the street, and across the street from him was one of his disciples. I believe it, don't quote me, but Paul or one of them guys. And they walked right past him and didn't even know who he was.
He would ascend in the sky, having cast off his shrouded skin. His bloodline would give rise to the royal families of the entire world.
His bloodline will give rise to the royal families of the entire world, which are still here today. His bloodlines. How do you make a bloodline? Well, it's two ways, because Jesus was artificially inseminated into Mary. All right? That's one way. But his real bloodline went through Mary Magdalene, who Jesus was married to and had kids by.
His bloodline would be protected, defended, and would control the globe. He was a descendant of the great serpent elite, who came to earth as beings of light to teach mankind. He was a descendant of the great giant killer David, a memory of a great battle that was fought between the serpent elite and the sons of Alien and Man. They were known as giants in the land. The aliens escaped Earth, but left behind their seed and tools of power and communication. It is prophesied that they shall return, and the signs are growing daily that they have returned, and are right now dealing with their own elite bloodline, the Menen.
So, when Yahweh in the Bible, in the first commandment, tells you that there's other gods, thou shalt have no God before me, right? He's telling you there's other gods. These are the other gods he's talking about, okay? Yahweh, look, the real true God, the real true creator of all, not of this, again, we live in a biosphere up underwater, in the bottom of an ocean on a planet called Tiamat. That's where you live, all right? Aliens created this, not God, all right? I mean, not the creator of all. The creator of all created the planet Tiamat. The creator of all created the water, all right? Aliens created this big biosphere. And the reason it's so huge, people, is because they are huge. All right? They're huge. That's why it's so huge. But the fighting that you see going on in ancient times, 2,000 years ago and before, between Yahweh, Canaanites, I mean, they fought everybody, right? Philistines, Babylonian, Egypt, they fought everybody. Why? Because of what he just told you. There were other gods on the planet, and they were not real gods. All right. The word God, according to the Talmud of Emmanuel, means commander. That's it. Now, doesn't it make much more sense that it would be commanders fighting each other? And what would they be fighting for? Now that we look at the Bible, they was fighting for land. Why would God, if he was God, the true creator, Yahweh, why would you be fighting for land on a planet that you created against beings that you created? That don't make sense. You see what I'm saying? So we got to use our head, man. This is not 2,000 years ago. People that still ascribing to these religions and going off this bullshit mentality is this big. But a lot of people, they don't even see that it's something wrong, which is the biggest, gaffe of all,
Power. This is the untold story of a very real and ancient alien invasion. In Africa today, there are the remains of the oldest form of worship anywhere on the planet. It is a cave in the shape of a huge serpent. All around there are pieces of stone fashioned into thousands of small scales. This is the place of worship for the serpent.
something that you never hear about. But like I tell you all the time, and if you done got the Soul Trap session, which I implore you to get, all right? Africa, particularly South Africa, is where they went. They didn't go no place else in Africa. These people came specifically to get the gold. The most gold was in South Africa. This is why you find these mounds and stuff. This is why, the serpent. All right, what is a serpent? What are they calling serpents? Something that looked like a snake, right? They found thousands of scales, little stones carved like scales. All right. Where do we live? In a biosphere underwater. Water being the key. How did the aliens get down underwater to even, first of all, build the biosphere? All right. They had to have some type of, advanced suits and apparatuses that gave them the ability to breathe. Either breathe. They look. They so advanced. We cannot rule out that we can't rule. We can't. First of all, we can't apply our own understanding of technology and think that they wore scuba suits. They might be way past that. They might have had some type of apparatus where they could breathe the water. You see what I'm saying? They can actually be amphibious, creatures. How do we know? We don't know. But we can't speculate and say what they can't do. You always got to leave your mind open to the possibility of what they can do, which is anything. In my opinion, if you can make this, which you got the whole world believing is a whole planet, if you can make something this huge and self-sustaining, you can do practically anything.
This is where man first came into contact with the aliens. The discovery of this one location surprised the world. Nobody expected original worship to be that of the serpent, and yet it is within every single religion. It is in all the myths of the world, and they all tell the same story. In the beginning, the serpent was the wise one, the only animal in the Bible to speak freely with his own mind and voice. The tempter, and yet also the holder of ultimate wisdom and the elixir of life.
So as they tell you this story of the serpent, all right, to compare that with what's in the Anunnaki text, all right, the Anunnaki, Enki is the serpent, who your Bible portrays as the serpent. Enki. In the Sumerian text, Enki's sign, if you will, or logo, if you will, is the serpent. All right. Now Enki was a scientist, a doctor. Enki was a doctor. His sister Ninhursag was a scientist. All right. Enki's sign is still here with us today. That's his sign. And what is that? It's the medical caduceus. Two snakes intertwined in a pole. That's the sign of Enki. It's still here today. All right.
Mankind, in comparison to this remarkable animal, appeared foolish. From that day forward, the serpent would control man. The very genetic makeup of mankind altered from this moment. We cannot say exactly when. We cannot pinpoint the so-called Garden of Eden in time.
So, as he's telling you, the DNA makeup of man changed. This is when Enki and his sister Ninhursag decided to make slaves out of humanity and come up with the Homo sapien, all right, which is us, and created us to be slaves to mine gold.
But we can piece together the remarkable story of the moment the serpent aliens came from the skies. We can uncover the story of what happened next and how it has affected our own time. The truth is, aliens do walk among us right now.
Well, you're right about one thing. Aliens walk amongst us right now. All right. But it's not just who he think it is. Okay. Anytime you have a population increase, it took 200,000 years for the present population to reach 6.8 billion people. Well, let's just round it off, 7 billion. But just about 100 years ago, 120 years ago, in 1800, I think it's 1840 to be exact, the population, after 200,000 years, the population reached 1 billion people. And in 1800, 1840, one of the two. So let's say 100 years, the population reached 1 billion people. How the hell, and we're talking about, think about this, from the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, all these hundreds of years. And this, in the last two centuries, in the last two millennium, I don't know what you would call it, but from let's just say from the 1600s, you know what I'm saying, to the 1400s, the 1300s, all that time, to the 1800s, the population only got up to 1 billion people. And now, in less than 123 years later, we up to 6.8, rounded 7 billion people. How the fuck did that happen? How could such a thing happen? Did everybody go on a mad sexual escapade? Of course not. What do we got today? We got so many diseases that's making people sterile that can't even have babies. You got birth control being used out the beehive. You got abortion. You got 3 things right there to stop births. And we ain't gonna talk about how many babies don't even live to see 10 years old. You have all these different factors today that the population should not have increased 7 times. So what does that mean? What does that tell you? There are people here that's not human. And there are a lot of them. No. You got probably the majority of the people on this planet ain't human. Not from here. That's the majority. Because technically, humanity should only be at about 2 billion people, and that's being very, very, very generous. So the majority of the people on the planet ain't even from this planet. And I'm telling you this, all you people that's out here being loose, having sex with whoever and whatever, and listen, when they decide to pull the veil off of this and turn whatever switch they got running that's making everybody look human, when they turn that switch off, just like in that movie They Live, when that switch get turned off, some of you people are going to turn in your bed and look and see that you in bed with an alien. Some of you people going to look at your 5 kids, and 2 out of 3 of them, or 3 out of 2 of them, it's not going to be human. This is a fact. I'm not telling you a supposedly story. The majority of the people on the planet is not human. There's no way we should be up at close to 7 billion people in just 123 years. It's impossible. Let that sink in.
To many, the very idea that the serpent is hidden within our religions and mythology will seem bizarre.
And I want to say this to you, all you Christians, and I pick on y'all, but it's everybody, all you religious people. If the majority of the people on this planet are not human, What the fuck do that got to say about your religions? You think these people came from another planet to come here and worship your God Yahweh? You think they came from another planet to become a Christian? Of course not. So who needs to wake up? You better wake up fast.
In Christianity and other faiths, it is reviled, and this itself is a folk memory of a fearful and warring past between mankind and the serpent.
This is the caduceus, in case you don't know what a caduceus look like. This is Inky symbol, our modern day medical symbol, but this symbol goes back thousands of years, people.
Nevertheless, the historical truth is that the serpent is there, and it is the root of all major religions. This has been proven again and again, both from scriptures and archaeology. The following information is vital to our understanding of this history, for it helps us to uncover the origin and role of this ancient invasion. This is a journey across time and space to unlock and reveal the hidden serpent race. The easiest and most clear way to realize that the serpent is hidden in our lives is to actually understand the language of the serpent itself. We need to get to the roots. The snake.
So, think about this for a second, what I'm about to say. The serpent is in all of your religions, every single last one of them. China don't have a religion, but China reveres the dragon, which is what? A serpent. So the serpent is woven into all of the world's societies in some shape, fashion, or form. It's not a coincidence.
Is known in the language of Canaan as Ab, Od, Oph, Op, F, and Ev. Amazing.
I'll rewind that for you.
The hidden serpent race. The easiest and most clear way to realize that the serpent is hidden in our lives is to actually understand the language of the serpent itself. We need to get to the roots. The snake is known in the language of Canaan as Ab, Od, Oph, Op, F, and Ev. Amazingly, in the Mayan language, Can means serpent, as in Kukulkan, the bird serpent. And just as in the ancient Sumerian Akan, and the Scottish Can for serpent, which is where we get the word canning, like the wise snake. Vulcan, the Roman god of fire, comes from the Babylonian Can for serpent, and Bull for fire, showing an etymological link across thousands of miles. The aspect of fire being included in the word is a clue to the origins of the serpent and its worship, for the ancients came with fire. There are no real snakes on Earth that are also fire, and so it must mean something quite different. Perhaps similar to that fire or light seen in the modern-day UFO sightings. At the very center of the Christian world, the Vatican, comes from the words vatus for prophet and can for serpent, making the Vatican a place of serpent prophecy.
And there you have why Vatican Hall is in the shape of a serpent.
The very book of Christians across the world, the Bible, is full of the serpent. Its conclusion is very interesting, for it reveals how the serpent was seen. The oracle of King Saul was called one that hath Ob, or the priestess of Ob, a word that means serpent. The serpent worshippers of Moses' time and era were known as Hivites, derived from Hivia, or serpent, the root of Eve. Okay. Hivites became Ophites.
So much knowledge
The
dropped
Bible
in such a
is
short
full of
time.
the serpent.
Hold on 1 second.
Fire or light. God of fire comes from the Babylonian can for serpent and as Ab.
Okay. This is why it's so ludicrous that you people are Christian or anything. Because you basing this off of just they picking and choosing certain shit out of the Bible and they done made a whole religion off of it. You can't do that. These words here, ab, oo, oaf, op, f, and eve, are in your religious text. But you don't know what they mean. All right? So this is really important. I'm gonna break this down so you understand the true importance of what you of what he's telling you.
The easiest and most clear way to realize that the serpent is hidden in our lives is to actually understand the language of the serpent itself.
Understand the language of the serpent itself. Translation is so key to this. All right. I will give the Quran some brownie points for one thing. In all Qurans, you have the original Arabic text next to whatever text is translated into. All right. And I got my Quran right here. So, as you can see, next to the English translation, you also have the original Arabic. Now, why is this important? It's important so that what happened to Christianity doesn't happen to the Muslims. Okay? So, whatever word was given by Yahweh and the prophets in Christianity, that's you have to go back to the original Hebrew. All right, which is, you know, the Jews, we already know they passed. We already see what type of people they are. They're not upright standing citizens. As we can even see in this war with them, you know, faking casualties and stuff like that to gain the sympathy of the world. So they're not upstanding people. All right. Which is truly why Yahweh even sent the Prophet Muhammad, because of the Jews. All right. And your boy Jesus, that's what he came to do, was right the wrongs that the Jews had done. That's really, really why he came. But understand that Jesus is Anunnaki. He's one of Yahweh's people. Yahweh, they Anunnaki. They not. And ain't nothing special about them. The other thing I wanted to tell you is, so the Asians, China, they got the dragon. The dragon is associated with what? Fire coming out of the serpent. Connection. UFOs. Back then, though, that did what? They shot out fire. Just like our space shuttles do today. And when Yahweh descended down on the mountain to give Moses the 10 commandments, Yahweh told Moses to build a fence around the mountain at some point to keep the people back, because if he come, the people will burn up if they got too close. It was a spaceship. Read the Bible.
We need to get to the roots. The snake is known in the language of Canaan as Ab, Ob, Op, F, and Ev. Amazingly, in the Mayan language, can means serpent, as in Kukulkan, the bird serpent.
Kukulkan in the Mayan stuff. That was one of their leaders. The bird serpent. All right. You can't make this stuff up, people.
Just as in the ancient Sumerian Akan and the Scottish can for serpent, which is where we get the word canny, like the wise snake. Vulcan, the Roman god.
This is where you get the word canny, which is in our English.
To get to the roots.
Which is in
the
our
snake
English
is known
language.
in the language of Canaan as.
Which is in our own English language. Canny. Canny means what? Wise, clever. That word originally originates from serpent.
Oops. Where we get the word canny, like the wise snake. Vulcan, the Roman god of fire, comes from the Babylonian can for serpent and vul for fire, showing an etymological link across thousands of miles. The aspect of fire being included in the word is a clue to the origins of the serpent and its worship, for the ancients came with fire.
The ancients came with fire. Spaceships that shot fire out.
There are no real snakes on Earth that are also fire, and so it must mean something quite different. Perhaps similar to that fire or light seen in the modern-day UFO sightings.
Brilliant point he made. There are no snakes, and never was, on Earth that are made of fire or associated with fire. The only thing we have is what? The dragon. There's no evidence that a real dragon ever existed on Earth. All right? And it's only and that belief is only in where? Asia country. China specifically.
At the very center of the Christian world, the Vatican.
Nope. This right here. Vatican. The can in Vatican means snake. Vatican Hall is in this. They just built it in the early 1900s, and it's not a mistake. It was by design. Like, you can actually go on Google or YouTube and find the original black and white pictures of them building Vatican Hall in the shape of a serpent, in the shape of a snake. So what is it that these high-level Catholics know that the rest of you don't know about religion? What is it? Because they know something that you don't know. And they showing it to you. And I made a post about this several times on my page. Vatican Hall being in the shape of a serpent. It means something. You think it means something to do with God up in the sky, the creator of all that you think you're praying to? Or do it mean something else? And this is what I'm telling you people. You, first of all, get the book, Awakening the God Within. This is in there of who you need. Some people just will never wake up. Some people will never wake up. And you claim you don't know, you claim this, that, and the other. The knowledge is there. I got the knowledge for you. Try to give it to you. You don't want it.
It's from the words vatus for prophet and can for serpent.
Vatican. Vatus for prophet, a prophet, like the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Can for serpent. That's what Vatican Hall means. A serpent prophet. All right. Now, the serpent don't mean what you think. Right now, you thinking evil. It doesn't mean evil. And he gonna tell you in a minute if we get to that, if we get that deep. But he gonna tell you in a minute. It don't mean evil. Serpent is not associated with evil, people. That come from your Emperor Nicene Council and King James, who wrote your King James Bible. Your King James King who wrote the book of demonology. So this is where the evilness of the serpent come from.
Making the Vatican a place of serpent prophecy.
Not just serpent prophecy, but all you freaking Catholics and every fucking Christian It's the place of serpent worship. So you ain't never, ever, ever been praying to the creator of all. You've been praying to the serpent God. And according to your Bible, who is that? The devil. I done told y'all 100 million times. Whatever mainstream kick, whatever mainstream push, do the exact opposite, believe the exact opposite, and you'll come out okay. You'll come out okay in this world if you was just to do that one thing. How many Christians are there? 1 billion. How many Catholics are there? Billions. And it's all the same because y'all all praying off of the same Bible. Y'all all serpent worshipers. And I'm going to make a post this week, well today, but I ain't going to post it till tomorrow, but I'm going to make a post about this. Y'all all are serpent worshipers. Every single last one of you. And don't even fucking know it. All right? By the way, buy a badge, give me some support for waking you up, because where else you gonna find this knowledge at? Who else teaching it? Don't quote no Billy Carson to me. He was following me before I knew who he was. All right? He was following me before I even knew who he was. Let's get this shit right.
The very book of Christians across the world, the Bible, is full of the serpent, and its inclusion is very interesting, for it reveals how the serpent was seen. The oracle of King Saul was called one that hath Ob, or the priestess of Ob, a word that means serpent.
You see how this word in your Bible, you would never know what the hell that means. And so when you read it, including I, because I done read the Bible 5 times front to back, I didn't know what old means. And the way they put it in there. These things are very important. See, they putting the truth in our face. It's all in your Bible. The truth is there. But do I speak 1200? Akkadian or Sumerian, or hell the fuck no. So they done put the truth in your face, but they built a whole religion off of picking and choosing what they're gonna bring out. This is why I keep telling you, your Christian pastors, they snakes, man. My baby's mother is a Christian pastor, got a church, just celebrated 18 years of being the church pastor. Do you think she know any of this shit? Hell to the fuck no. And she got a congregation of hundreds of people. And where is she leading those people? If there's a hellfire to go to, that's exactly where they are leading you, because all of y'all worshiping the serpent. It's funny to me. It's really funny. It's sad for you if you one of these people. It's funny to me. It's funny to me, because here's my take on the whole situation about this shit. All right. The first time that I discovered, because I went to church every Sunday growing up. And when I turned 18 and I asked my Sunday school teacher, why does God say turn the other cheek in the New Testament, and then in the Old Testament he said eye for eye? When she couldn't give me an answer and told me just to have faith, my journey began. My research journey began, because I did not accept that bullshit. But see, here's the difference between me and you. You've accepted it over and over and over and over again. So that's why I laugh at you, because I'm no different than you. But I don't accept bullshit. You do.
The serpent worshippers of Moses' time and era were known as Hivites, derived from Hivia, or serpent, the root of Eve. Hivites became
the root of Eve. You see how all this shit is connected? Now, I do remember reading that just what was it, a couple weeks ago when I was reading to y'all. But now I remember, because it didn't make sense then as I read it to y'all, but now the connection, it makes sense now. All right? Why Eve was even called Eve. It's connected to the serpent. See, in your Bible, they got you thinking God, Yahweh created Adam. That's not true. Yahweh is just the God. He the commander. So he gets credit for anything that happened up under him with his people. Just like Captain Kirk. If Captain Kirk and them with Star Trek, if they go to a planet and it's being ravaged by AIDS or whatever, and they come up with and what's his name, the doctor. If he discover a cure, who get credit? The doctor or Captain Kirk? When he go back to the council, they're gonna say, Captain Kirk, you did a good job. They ain't gonna say the doctor. It's the same way. Yahweh is the God commander. Enki, the snake, and his sister, who you know who the sister is? Ninhursag in the Bible. You know who they made her as? The Holy Spirit. Why would they make her the Holy Spirit? Because of the male chauvinist attitude at that time when the Bible was being, compiled. And this was at the Nicene Council, and this is what your boy King James, this is his play in it. They wasn't about to have they were not about to have a female on the same level as the God. Is you crazy? Are you nuts? Hell to the no to that. No. So they erased her completely. This is why I tell you, the Sphinx in ancient Egypt is not a man, it's Ninhursag. She is the one responsible that's given the credit for us today, Homo sapiens. All right? Without her, there would be no Homo sapiens. She is given full credit for that.
The Ophites, the early Christian Gnostic serpent worshippers, that hath Ob, or the priestess of Ob, a word that means serpent. The serpent worshippers of Moses' time and era were known as Hivites, derived from Hivia, or serpent, the root of Eve.
Now notice, all of these people that he mentioned, the Hivites, the Canaanites, all of these ites, for one, that's serpents, the ite on the end, all right? What's that? The suffix. But also, notice one thing. These are also the people that Yahweh fought, all of them. He fought everybody. He fought everybody, including all of these people.
Hivites became Ophites, the early Christian Gnostic serpent worshippers who claimed affinity with the Christians in the 2nd century AD.
Now, these were the first Gnostics. Gnostic is comes from the root word gnosis. Gnosis means knowledge. These people had the knowledge, original knowledge. So let's compare the two, right? The knowledge they got about the serpent, they got all this knowledge about the serpent, all of this stuff, right? Compare that to the knowledge that you got from Yahweh. What's the knowledge you got from Yahweh? That he is the creator God. Lies. All right? So you got a bunch of lies in your Christianity. And remember, the first Christians was not who you are. You're not the first Christians. The Gnostics were the ones called the first Christians because Christian was actually a derogatory term that meant people who was who didn't believe in what mainstream was kicking. What was mainstream at that time? Mainstream at that time is what's in your Bible, what the Jews controlled, the Sadducees. All right, that's what they controlled. A made-up religion that put them higher than most. You see what I'm saying? That wasn't the truth. And Gnostic and Gnosis is knowledge, which only means the truth. All right? So you Christian, it's the same thing with Israel today. Israel has assumed the identity of a real people who were Israelites. All right? Black people. Wasn't white people. Black people. But these guys, these Israelites, this is why I posted a video of Dave Chappelle telling you space Jews. Because that's who they are. They're not from here. That's what Jesus tells you about in the Talmud of Emmanuel, that they're not from this planet. They are evil. They are evil people who escaped bondage from another planet and came here. This is written in the Talmud of Emmanuel by Judas Iscariot as the scribe of Jesus, whose real name is Emmanuel. It's not Yeshua. Yeshua is the main root of the word Yeshua is Yahashua, which is Joshua. All right, and I'm gonna make a post about that. I keep telling y'all I am. All right, see all these people on the internet saying his name is Yeshua, Billy Carson. His name is Yeshua. It's not. And when I show you the shit, like I cite sources and show sources, these niggas just talk. You should, just based off my background when I tell you this shit, you should buy everything I fucking put out. Soul Trap Session, a book, whatever, because you should know one thing about me is I cite freaking sources so that you know this shit is real. And I don't really do it for you. This is my journey. Remember? I keep telling y'all, I don't work for you. I'm working for me. This is my journey. But you should be grateful that I've decided to share my journey with you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it come at a price, but where the fuck where and who else is citing sources to show you that what they talking about is real, true? I do it for myself. So if it's good enough for me, as stringent as I am, then it's good enough for your money. You understand how that works? Understand when you're getting real knowledge. Understand it.
Indeed, the very children of Israel intermarried with them and served their gods.
Let's rewind that.
A word that means serpent. The serpent worshippers of Moses' time and era were known as Hivites, derived from Hivia, or serpent, the root of Eve. Hivites became Ophites, the early Christian Gnostic serpent worshippers who claimed affinity with the Christians in the 2nd century AD. Indeed, the very children of Israel intermarried with them and served their gods.
So the children of Israel intermarried, joined, however you want to say it, and served their gods. All right? This has to be before Yahweh stepped on the scene. Because the children of Israel were going to bondage. And after that, they would be monotheistic, serving only one God, Yahweh. Now, this is what I keep trying to explain to y'all. So here you have the history of the children of Israel. All right? I say this to y'all all the time. Why did Yahweh choose some slaves in Egypt to rescue? Why did he choose them? See, they telling, Jews today talking about they the promised people. They the chosen ones. No, the fuck you ain't. No, you not. All right. Why were they chosen? By this particular God, commander, Yahweh. They were chosen for one reason and one reason only. Think about American slavery. What if a God appeared to the American slaves, the black American slaves, and told them he was going to get them free? What would niggas be doing today? Hold on, let me put a real twist on it. And let's say the name of that slave was Elvis Presley. What would niggas be doing today if Elvis Presley, the God, had saved us from American slavery? How many niggas will be walking around here named Elvis for one? And what if this Elvis guy did everything that the real Elvis Presley did, all of this? How would niggas be dancing today? So do you see why Yahweh chose these so-called children of Israel? Here comes an alien with much power to taking them. That ain't shit. He can get them. He can take them. That's why he chose them. Now he gonna now you understand why Yahweh, after he chose them, when the children of Israel made the golden calf, now you understand why he killed half of them. They meant nothing, and to this day still don't mean nothing. They ain't nothing. They not chosen. These people are worshiping the Jews are worshiping an alien. Look, can you see how this is still going on today? Who are you Christians worshiping? A serpent. This was going on in ancient times. And it's going on still today. So when I be telling y'all that you got to look past all this, this ain't a Russia, China, United States war, nothing like that. That's these niggas. That's Yahweh, the serpent God. That's them playing, they playing chess. We are little humans in this thing. And they just sitting up there on the opposite side, they playing chess. Our lives don't mean nothing to them. You praying to aliens. Jesus, even though he is one of them Anunnaki guys in the Talmud of Emmanuel, he tell you who to pray to. I put this in my book, Awakening the God Within. This is why it's called Awakening the God Within. Because the God you praying to up in the sky, wherever the hell you think he is an alien. When are you going to wake up? You have to wake up. This shit is still going on. Christians, serpents fighting the Jews. I don't think it's registering, man. It's like you're not listening.
Moses' time and era were known as Hivites, derived from Hivia, or serpent, the root of Eve. Hivites became Ophites, the early Christian Gnostic serpent worshippers who claimed affinity with the Christians in the 2nd century AD. Indeed, the very children of Israel intermarried with them and served their gods.
Served their gods. The children of Israel. Why they talking all that high and mighty shit today?
This is very revealing stuff. Intermarriage
right.
and worship of the serpent gods. Today, we can easily replace the word gods with aliens. They were also known as Baalim, from the god Baal. Baal was an abbreviation of Ab-El, the serpent god, or shining serpent.
You see how the translation matters. A lot of you have heard of Baal, but you didn't know Baal actually comes from Baal. All right, look, and all it takes, man, to find this shit out is research. It's deep research, but research nonetheless. All right. You think they don't know? You think these Jews don't know this shit? They the ones that got the original text. You think they don't know this? Of course they know this. All right? Of course they know. They know what's going on. They attacking Hamas, all right, for a reason. Who knows? Do we even really know if Hamas attacked Israel first? Israel is a shady shiesty. They gonna probably do something to me. Look, all right, Rraw Report and Rraw Therapy, they cutting y'all off. All right, and I'm gonna bring y'all back. Hopefully they don't block me, but I'm gonna stop talking about it because Mark Zuckerberg and them just listening. All right, but we is gonna get through this, man. We gonna get through this because it's very, very important. It's very important. All right, they taking you away too, Raw Talk. Now, I know it's some BS because one of y'all didn't get took away, and that was Raw Talk. Y'all used to always go all the way through. So I'm going to try to bring y'all back if I can. If not, go to YouTube. You know they on some bullshit, YouTube. And Facebook, they don't care about you because you my private Facebook. I just bring y'all on to keep a track of these in case I need to, in case they delete my page, I can go back and get them. All right, but anyway, we'll give people a chance to come back. Let's do 30 seconds of that.
Israel intermarried with them and served their gods.
The children of Israel served their God. It's just so much to talk about on that, right? Children of Israel intermarried with them and served their gods. Intermarried with the Hivites and served the serpent gods. All right. So this is a history that the Jews don't want you to know about them. All right. They don't want you to know their true history. See, the Jews gonna try to pick up their history from Egypt because it makes them look like a people that, you know, overcame and all of this stuff. No. We know your real true identity, and what you've been worshiping all this time is another serpent god. That's what they've been worshiping all this time.
This is very revealing stuff. Intermarriage and worship of the serpent gods. Today we can easily.
This is why Yahweh forbade, not you. Remember something. The story of the children of Israel, that's not your story. That's their story. That's like your neighbors or something having a cookout and you trying to go over there and act like you invited like you family, or like they having a family reunion and you trying to go over there and eat because you know the neighbor. And they like, well, this is for family only. Yeah, but I'm his neighbor. It's not for you. It's not for you. The children of Israel story, they God, that's not for you. You niggas is just marching up into the party. It's not for you. You should not be worshiping the God of the Bible. It's not for you. It's for the children of Israel. And you shouldn't want to worship him after all this shit I'm telling you. All right, you need to get my book, Awakening the God Within, and find out who you're supposed to be worshiping and how. You the ones effing yourselves over.
Replace the word gods with aliens.
And there's just so much in this little piece right here. Jesus.
This and most clear way. Sumerian Akan and the Scottish can for serpent, which is where we get the word canny, like the wise snake. Vulcan, the Roman god of fire.
But see,
modern day UFO sightings.
But see, now that I done told you this, now it all makes sense why Vatican Hall is in the shape of a serpent. Now it all makes sense why Yahweh in the very first commandment, thou shalt have no other God before me, because the Lord your God is a jealous God. There's other gods. All right? This is what I'll be trying to say. This is why I read the Bible with y'all. And you know what? I know I've been neglecting the Knowledge College out, but we in there this week. All right? Premium side, we in there this week. All right? This is why I'll be reading it with you so that you can understand that you don't add nothing to what he says. He says what he says and he means what he says, just like anybody else that say something. You see what I'm saying? So he told you there was other gods. And here you seen there were other gods. Even serpent gods. He wasn't the only one.
The early Christian Gnostic serpent worshippers who claimed affinity with the Christians in the 2nd century AD. Indeed, the very children of Israel intermarried with them and served their gods. This is very revealing stuff. Intermarriage and worship of the serpent gods. Today, we can easily replace the word gods with aliens. They were also known as Baalim, from the god Baal. Baal was an abbreviation of Ab-El, the serpent god, or shining serpent.
Now, let me tell you something that's really interesting about Baal, all right? And this is in my book, Awakening the God Within. Get this book. This book is full of knowledge. So, in the book, I'm talking about Baal and some of these other gods, all right? But they also have different positions, let's say, all right? Baal ain't just what he telling you a god. Baal is also what they call a demon. These beings are still here and acting in other different ways. People, they have not left. You need to get the book so you can understand and read this shit. I'm telling you, man, it's playing a part in your life today. All right? It's playing a part in your life today. Trust me what I'm telling you. It's in the book. Get the book.
The shining aspect of the serpent reveals a subtle clue. The serpent was indeed seen in the sky and shone down upon us. This is why in Egypt, for instance, we will see the sun or Aten wrapped with a snake, and why the serpent was worldwide seen as a symbol of the sun.
So, I don't know if you can make it out. So this is the sun. You got a serpent here going into the sun and a serpent here going into the sun, right? Half of y'all don't pay attention to the real shit that I post. About 6 months ago, there was activity on the sun. Somebody caught it with their camera. I posted it. It showed a serpent-like being doing this on our sun, doing this, and went into the sun, which meant because the sun is huge, not as huge as they say it is. Of course, the sun is also in the dome, but this serpent being was seen. This is why. Look, I believe when they let certain shit out to the public, and they don't say shit about it. Nobody said nothing about it. They was just talking about solar flares, solar bursts. But you could clearly see a serpent type of thing going around the sun and into the sun. You could see it clearly. So that's why I posted it, because I knew it held some significance, because they said it was something else, when clearly you can see what should have been the caption is, what the hell is this? Now, what I keep trying to explain to you motherfuckers is that the world is about, a lot of people is about to be extinct. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You better get that soul trap session and learn what to do so you do not reincarnate and come back here, because I'm telling you, all of y'all ain't gonna come back here. All right? Let me just explain my reasoning. They're trying to reduce the population to make it more easily controllable. Okay? Now listen to this. Watch me connect the dots for you. What did the woman say up under hypnosis? They came here on a spaceship, souls, a bunch of souls on a spaceship. They was lied to and told they was coming here to help humanity, reach a higher level of consciousness. That's what they was told. All right? So what does that say? We got trafficking of souls going on an alien level, which is some shit we ain't never even thought about. But you got trafficking of souls going on. Soul trafficking. Just like human trafficking, you got soul trafficking going on. The population has increased six times over, 7 times over since 1800. All right, which means 5 billion people on the planet are not human. They're not from here. So what does that tell you? That tells you got a system where they can go collect souls from wherever, put them in human form, and send them down here. All right. Now, check this out. The elite want the population reduced. Who run the elite? The Anunnaki. This is the Anunnaki's realm. Make no mistake about it. It don't matter who else is here. They built this, and they claim it, and they own it. Which is why they can do what they do. because they made this shit up. So we play by their rules. Now all these other people done learned about this shit. All these other aliens done learned that this biosphere was down here, and they flooding it. They coming in here. This means what? See, they tell you the flood happened because of why? Because the world was corrupted. They say by sin. Sin is what come from King James, the Nicene Council. That's not the true reason why the world was corrupted. Why was the world corrupted? Because of the same thing going on today. And what is that? The majority of the people on the planet are not human. What is the Anunnaki's plan for creating this? To mine gold and have slaves to do it. So if 7 billion people on the planet and only 2 billion are the actual slaves that you want, and the rest of these 5 billion, what's their agenda? Because their agenda is not the same as the Anunnaki. So now, what is happening here inside the dome, or on Earth, as you call it? It's corrupted. What do you think the Anunnaki is going to do to this biosphere with 5 billion non-humans in it? What you think they're about to do? Another flood. They're going to kill everybody on this planet and start over again. Now, what's going to happen on the spiritual side of that in the afterlife? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, because the Anunnaki is not going to take an L on this. They're not going to take an L. You came, all you other people who ain't from here, you came here. You got a soul. You didn't assume the human identity. You have a soul. They know you got a soul. Everything has a soul. What you think they're about? What you think they got set up? What you think happened when the first flood happened? And not the first flood. Science tells us there's been multiple floods, just to let you know. All right? But what you think happened with the flood with all those souls down there? You think the Anunnaki wasn't prepared to capture them all? Now, what happened when the flood happened? After the flood, after the waters receded, what happened? They started over, right? So it began with who? The family of Noah. Noah was what? Anunnaki. If you don't know, go look up it. They even got a thing on Noah. Noah was born with white hair, white skin, and his eyes shone like shiny some shit. What have I been telling you? What color is the Anunnaki? White. I keep telling you this. But I knew it way before I read about Noah. All right? Inky, and they purposely did this. In the Sumerian text, they purposely tried to hide what they look like. But it was one verse, just one verse in the whole fucking Sumerian text that they done deciphered that told me what Inky was. He was white. And that's because Inky impregnated one of his black generals' wife. They was all black, but the baby came out white. How could that happen? Ain't no such thing as albino. The albino come from the Anunnaki DNA, who is white. But anyway, they about to destroy the world again. Now, what you think gonna happen to all those souls? Like I said. So, millions of souls lost. Anunnaki, they snatched them up. So when the waters receded and Noah and them started repopulating the earth, because that's how it happened, right? They just meeting out a couple of souls at a time. Remember, since the time of the flood till today, in 1800, we only reached 1 billion people. Listen. The woman up under hypnosis who we call coming from someplace else, and she was a black woman, mind you. And this is why I be trying to explain to y'all, color don't matter. They got us divided on color. Color don't mean shit. Is black people taking hell on this motherfucker? Yes. But in all actuality, color really don't matter. Ain't no telling what color this woman's soul was. All right? But this was a black woman under hypnosis doing past life regression, and the spiritual person was leading her through the time in between lives, which is the most important. This is where I get a lot of good information for you for the soul trap session. All right, can piece this shit together like I can piece it together like a detective with the other ancient knowledge and esoteric knowledge that I know. All right. Anyway, I'm just gonna put it to you briefly so we can get back to this. Everybody, when this mass death happens, and it's gonna happen a variety of ways. It's gonna be nuclear, because China and Russia are gonna bomb the hell out of the United States. I'm telling you that right now. All right, this country is over with. You got prophets, Prophet Vanguard, Edgar Casey, and them saw the United States on fire in the future. All right, they're gonna bomb the hell out of us. We not all gonna make it. But the Anunnaki gonna be prepared, all right? The souls that they gonna capture, which is the majority of y'all, because you don't know how to escape. Get the soul trap session, learn how to escape. The souls that they gonna capture, you think they just gonna hold them? What did I just tell you? What did we just learn from the woman up under hypnosis? They trafficking souls. So some of y'all souls gonna be sold into slavery on some other planet. You're going to look like something else. And the most important thing I keep trying to explain to you is you're going to endure death again and again. And who knows where they fucking selling you at. You might just be fooled. You might just be fooled. It's so important that you get this. I cannot stress to you how important it is to get the soul trap session. Dog. Do you understand that if you don't get it now, you will never run across this type of information ever again in whatever lives you live? Do you understand that? That means it's lost forever. And you will be stuck in a reincarnation loop, no matter if it's on this planet or wherever the hell else they take. You will be stuck in that forever. Do you understand that? Like, I don't think you understand that. Look how you stumbled upon my page. There is no one on the internet that has what I have available to you with sources cited. Do you understand how lucky you are to have stumbled upon this? I don't think you get it. If I walk out my house today and get hit by a truck, it's over with. This is nothing you can say I'll get in a month or two. This is the most important thing in the world. And I don't think you really understand it. It's because you're too caught up in what's coming across this TV and the society that they got you living in and all that. You're not even paying attention to people that you claim to believe in, like Jesus, who tells you none of this shit matter. Get the knowledge so that you can get the hell out of here. But like I said, there's a reason there's a price on it. That price has already went up. It's going to continue to go up. Even Jesus said to his own disciples, don't just give it to anybody. Make sure they're worthy of it before you give it to them. And the only way we can gauge worth in this society is money. And for real, we can't even use that, but this is the only thing I got. You know what I'm saying? I used to do these one-on-one. Some people would say, yeah, I want to get the soul trap session, and I would talk to them, and something didn't seem right. I'm like, I'm not giving it to you. Be lucky that I put it in a system where I'm not like actually, checking out who's getting it, because some of y'all don't deserve it. And there's some people that done got it that I wouldn't have never gave it to them. I'm gonna be honest with you. You need to understand, I'm not doing this for you. I didn't decide to do this for money. The soul trap session used to be $2.99. That's it. That paid for the platform that I used to put it on. I had to pay, so I said, well, I'll pass that off to y'all. Since I'm doing it for y'all, I ain't doing it for me. You better recognize, man. When I be showing y'all this shit to break down y'all religions, it's to leave you with this. Well, he just proved to me God is fake. So now what I'm going to do? Now what you're going to do is read the book and get the soul trap session so you can get your life together. Get fully together, man. Get fully together. Get yourself together, dog.
It was these shining ones, or serpents, which were the lights in the sky that descended to earth. They were the lights that our ancestors saw in the sky, the sun, moon, and stars. But these lights came down to earth and settled amongst us. The lights were the ships, the craft of the strange, serpent-like humanoids that stepped off and walked among mankind.
That's like in the Bible when Yahweh makes the Garden of Eden. He planted. Go read this verse, chapter 2. Yahweh plants the Garden of Eden. The word says he plants the Garden of Eden. It didn't say he created or this dude planted. He was a farmer. That supports what? This. Aliens building a biosphere. What was the first thing he did? After he created the biosphere. They already had food to eat. This is where the Elohim is all of him and his soldiers. What did they do? Well, not him and his soldiers, his ranking soldiers. That's who the Elohim is. What did they do? They planted a garden. Why does God have to fucking plant a garden? You don't think. Why would the creator of all have to plant a garden? And then he did it. Look, then he created Adam. And he put Adam in it. This is what it says in your Bible. Read chapter 2. Then after Yahweh planted the garden, then he made Adam to till the garden and put Adam in the garden. Keep in mind, Adam is not the first human. If you read Genesis chapter 1, on the 6th day, God created humanity, both male and female, and sent them out into the world and told them to be fruitful and multiply. On the 7th day, he rested. It don't say which day after that he planted the garden, but he planted the garden after the 7th day. The biggest question too is, why would God need to rest? So the spirit had to sit down? Spirits are what? Energy, which cannot be destroyed. So energy that can't be destroyed definitely don't got to rest. It's constant. Fatigue is a physical attribute. It's not a spiritual one. It's not an energy one. Does an atom have to rest? Is not energy made up of atoms? Do atoms have to rest? No. Y'all don't think and apply common logic. This is why you pay to get the soul trap session. That's why you pay. Because I think like you don't think. And if you just basing it off what you think, you're going to mislead yourself, Rap.
The Greeks called Baal the liar, which means a dragon or great serpent. Baal.
So now they back to talking about Baal, and they called him a liar. In my book, look, right now, every one of y'all should be getting the book, because what you just watching right now line up so perfectly of what's in the book, dog. Perfect. Perfectly.
Is the Assyrio-Babylonian version of the gods Enlil and Marduk, the same Baal seen throughout the Bible. So the Baal in the Bible is a Babylonian serpent god, one of the ancient lights of wisdom that descended to earth.
Marduk.
The European Beltane should be rendered Baltan, both words signifying the dragon or serpent. In fact, Tanit was the patron goddess of Carthage in northern Africa, who was also associated with the Tree of Life, like Ishtar and Astarte, and she definitely crossed cultures into Europe, becoming the root of the word Easter. The name Tanit means
Dropping mad knowledge on you right here. Pay attention.
the European Beltane should be rendered Baltan, both words signifying the dragon or serpent. In fact, Tanit was the patron goddess of Carthage in northern Africa, who was also associated with the Tree of Life, like Ishtar and Astarte, and she definitely crossed cultures into Europe, becoming the root of the word Easter. The name Tanit means serpent lady, and she is found on many coins in Carthage associated with the caduceus and symbolizing the role of Tanit in life, death, and rebirth.
All right, Tanit is Ninhursag. All right, Ishtar, she's going to be known by many names. All right, notice he said associated with life, death, and rebirth. For you people who don't think, listen, let me just drop it to you. You live in a closed system. Even Bill Nye admitted this to you. He said there's nowhere to go. They're not going nowhere. You live in a closed system. They only got at first when this shit first happened, they only had so many souls they could use. All right. Now, what's crazy about all of that I'm telling you is that in the Pistis Sophia, Jesus is talking about Sophia being the one who gave the spark to humanity, not Ninhursag, not Enlil. Sophia says she gave that spark. Now, who is Sophia that she could give life? This is why you got to get the Soul Trap session. Ain't none of the shit you think is real. It's all a big lie. It's all meant to deceive and confuse you to keep you doing the cycle. Life, death, rebirth. That's what it's all about. See, what they want you to do is spend your lifetime. This is why all this knowledge is smeared and lost and all. What they want you to do is do what I did. I turned 56 yesterday. That marks year 32. They want you to spend your life, 32 years like me, researching. You know how many, I'm single. You know how many women, I'm divorced. You know how many women couldn't deal with this? This shit consumed my life. And they want you to go through them same hoops because most of you will give up. I have not given up. I'm still going. I'm still researching. Until the day I die, I'm going to keep doing this shit to make sure I'm 100% correct. Not for you. This is so that when I die, I know exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing. Thank God for you. I chose to share it. No matter what the price. If I was you, I would get it. Unless you feel like spending the next 30, 40 years of your life trying to find this shit out. And the whole thing about it you need to understand is, I'm not like you. I have a very high IQ. I was a member of Mensa. I became a member of Mensa when I was like 12. They came and got me. I didn't know what a fucking Mensa was or what that meant. They took me out of regular school and they put me in what they called a magnet school in Cleveland, which was for people who were smart. I went to school with Terrence Howard. Graduation year, here come the FBI, which the school said they had never came there before. And they ain't never been back, according to my knowledge. They came to recruit me. They pulled, and I know it was like a fucking lineup. They put the top 5 people with the highest IQs in the school and made it a ruse like they was there just recruiting. But they was really after me. I accepted the job, but then I fell in love with my baby's mother and I turned it down before I had to relocate. And when they saw that, I tried to go back. They didn't want me. You know why? The paperwork had already been put in to send this young man to prison for something that he didn't do. And I would spend the next 14 years of my life in the joint for a crime I didn't commit. Which I took that time and turned around and I studied. Don't think that when you reincarnate, they don't know who you are. You think they don't know who Gandhi is when he died and reincarnated? You think they don't know who Malcolm X is? You think they don't keep tabs on people who can change society when they reincarnate? This is why it's important that you understand that you need to get the soul trap session and get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. This is not what you think it is, people. I'm trying to tell you. It's not what you think it is. Rraw Report, your battery is going dead. 1 second. I have to put you somewhere else that can support a battery. All right. People, I'm trying to tell you, man, you can't make this shit up. Look, the world is not what you think it is. And you cannot make this stuff up. This is some real stuff. They know who all of us are. They know everything. That's what they own, right? They own what? knowing about you. That's what they own. Call it spying, whatever you want to call it, but that's what this shit is deeper than anything that you know. All right? Get that soul trap session and learn to escape, because I'm telling you, dog. A lot of you, when this big thing popped down, they shipping you off someplace else. Look, number one thing, how I know this, how do you know this, Rraw? The number one thing is what? When you die, you never hear about anybody saying they forced me to go into the light. They can't force you to go anywhere, which means you have a choice, which means if there's a choice, then look at what your options are. Go into the light and be reincarnated, come back down to earth, you're still in this closed system. That means it must be another way. This is what's in the soul trap session, people. Learn it, get it. All right? The Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman, also is on that soul side. And I'm Harriet Tubman, motherfuckers.
She is basically the same as the Queen of Heaven, Astarte, Isis, and Mary.
This is Ninhursag.
All of these deities and names go back to Babylonian beliefs of serpent worship, which in turn goes across to Egypt and Mesopotamia in general, towards the African ancient serpent cults. The very place that the original Shining Ones descended to Earth and began their teaching of mankind. Christianity, then, is related to the most ancient serpent worship known, and if it were not for the destructive covering up of huge amounts of historical data by the Christians, then this would have been all the more obvious.
Now you understand. Why would there be a need for a Nicene Council? Why would there be a need for King James to translate the Bible and give out his version? All right? Why would they be burning other ancient texts? The church had the Crusades. The Crusades wasn't just about taking land, people. All right? It was about knocking out all competition to the church, but more importantly, knocking out the competition to the church's story about ancient times and God and all of that stuff. They wanted to eliminate all of that so that they can control you into doing what they want. This is one alien commander going against several other alien commanders.
It is a fact that the Christians were ashamed of this link and did all they could to destroy it, not least because it would reveal their own deity to be of serpent origin itself.
because it would reveal that the Christian's own deity is of serpent origins, which is why what? Vatican Hall is in the shape of a serpent. You see how the dots is being connected? All right.
Years later, as we shall see, the serpent bloodline would emerge again in the line of the Merovingians, and again the Christians would fight a battle to subdue them.
Okay.
Head and shoulders.
So, the Merovingians, this is the bloodline of, I think, Jesus. All right. And he about to talk about Jesus' bloodline, this, that, and the other. All right. So, this is the number one thing I can't understand, though, about you Christians. If, you know, I was once a Christian. I wanted to read anything and everything that had anything to do about Christianity, Jesus, whoever. All right. But you guys don't. It's like, you know, the biggest thing is, it's like y'all are afraid to find out the truth. All right. I know it's people watching that got money to get the Soul Trap and won't get it. I know it's people who got money to get a book and won't get it. It's like, you know, there's a certain part of you that you don't want to know real truth, because it destroys your whole belief system. And I do understand that for some of y'all, with this happening, like all at once like this, see, the benefit that you getting is that I give it to you all at once. For me, it was a stepping stone. 32 years of research. So I would learn some stuff year after year after year after year. So I was able to consume it more. I was able to cross-corroborate more. But for you, I think it's more like culture shock, because I'm just, bam, giving it to you, and it's registering, but it's also still like a shock to you. And you like, God, how does he know all of this stuff? And it makes absolute perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? And I'm afraid to know more. But you got to, man. For one, you don't have a lot of time. I keep explaining to you. You're watching your politicians like outline your demise. You watching them plot it right in front of your eyes. They lulling you to sleep with all this other BS, but they're actually plotting your demise right in front of your face. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you. That was a long commercial. So the only thing I could tell you, dog, is get the Soul Trap session and be prepared for the worst. Because the worst, you witnessing the worst. There's never been a time before where all these nuclear superpowers are talking about nuking each other. You know, if they was to say that just like 40 years ago, that them saying it publicly would be a declare of war. Why would I? If Russia done told her, they said Russia 35 times told United States or Ukraine, one of them countries, that they was going to nuke them. Vladimir Putin said it 30 times. You see what I'm saying? Go back 30, 40 years ago, if any country was just to say that, after what the United States did to Japan, if any country would publicly state that they were going to nuke somebody, the other country would shoot their nukes first. That's why they called it the Cold War. It was a time when you couldn't say shit like that. That's a threat. Why would I wait? If the Soviet Union said we're gonna nuke the United States, Richard Nixon, Lyndon B. Johnson, wouldn't matter who the fuck it was, they would get on there and say the Soviet Union has made a threat and we take threats seriously, therefore we have initiated war, and at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, we launched several nukes at the Soviet Union. Nigga, they not playing. This ain't no game. This ain't no bluff game. So now you got all these countries talking about they're gonna nuke each other. You are witnessing the plotting of your demise. I'm telling you, dog. Y'all better wake up.
The Christian Gnostics was Ophites, which means serpent worshippers. It was this group, not least because it would reveal their own deity to be of serpent origin itself. Years later, as we shall see, the serpent bloodline would emerge again in the line of the Merovingians, and again the Christians would fight a battle to subdue them. A general term for early Christian Gnostics was Ophites, which means serpent worshippers. It was this group that wrote the New Testament. Epiphanius said, the Ophites sprung out of...
I almost missed that. Let's hear that again. Very important for you Christians. Very important, because you Christians only want to look at this New Testament. So let's bust that shit wide open.
Years later, as we shall see, the serpent bloodline would emerge again in the line of the Merovingians, and again the Christians would fight a battle to subdue them.
Notice the Christians fighting battles. Why? I just told you why earlier.
A general term for early Christian Gnostics was Ophites, which means serpent worshippers. It was this group that wrote the New Testament.
All right. I don't like him using Gnostics, because the true Gnostics did not write the New Testament. But the early Christians who were the serpent worshipers are the ones who wrote the New Testament. Hold on, I got my Bible right here. The majority of your New Testament is written by a guy named Paul. All right? This Paul is not a disciple of Jesus like many of you have been told. All right? This Paul is responsible for writing after Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and those are not your actual disciples either, people. Don't get that twisted, all right? I posted before that that Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John of your New Testament are letters that was written by dudes like almost 100 years after Jesus was gone. So they were not disciples of Jesus. What did I just explain to you earlier in the broadcast? If Elvis Presley would have been the name of the guy, what would niggas' names would be today? Elvis Presley. The disciples, Jesus and the disciples, was celebrity status. All right? Celebrity status. What does that mean? That means people going to name their kids after Jesus, after Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, all the other disciples. Because of why? Because this is just the ignorance of people. You know what I'm saying? This is why I be telling y'all, stop. Fuck who the messenger is. Stop looking up to the messenger and pay attention to the message. These niggas didn't. They paid attention to the messenger. All right? But if you go through your Bible, Acts, Romans, Corinthians, 1st and 2nd, Galatians, Thessalonians. Look. Timothy. Look, these are all letters by a guy named Paul. The first letter of Paul to Timothy. Do you know? Galatians, Acts, Corinthians. These are all letters by Paul. Paul wrote 80% of the fucking New Testament. So you relying on one motherfucker to give you the truth. And you ain't researched nothing. And where was Paul when he wrote these letters? In jail. In jail. And I've been in the jail. And I can tell you, I can attest to the fact that even I wrote some bullshit from prison because you're lonely, depressed, and you seek a connection with the outside world if you ain't got none. I can't imagine what Paul was going through then. Because I could get visits. I could talk on the phone. I can watch TV. He couldn't. I can go to the library. I can go play ball. I can go work out. He couldn't. He couldn't. So I would be damned if I would trust a nigga that was in the joint 2,000 years ago. That nigga was what we call pressed. Nigga pressed out of his mind pressed. He could have possibly went crazy in that motherfucker. Because I done seen people get put on Thorazine and shit in the joint. In modern times, because they can't take it. You have to put yourself in the context of things. You people are just walking into shit, niggas walking in church. I got right back with the Lord. The Lord wasn't even on you with you to begin with. What the fuck you mean you got back? It's the same nigga that said don't eat from the tree of good and evils, so that you wouldn't wake up.
Epiphanius said, the Ophites sprung out of the Nicolaitans and Gnostics, and were so called from the serpent which they worshipped.
These niggas was outright worshiping a serpent. That's Christians, that's what you're doing. They just call him God. Yahweh. Elohim. This go for your Hebrew Israelites, your Muslims, your Christians, your Jews. All of y'all are worshiping a serpent. And you don't know what it is.
He taught that the ruler of this world was of a draconic form, and the Ophites attribute all wisdom to the serpent of paradise, and say that he was the author of knowledge of men.
Hold on, let's get that again. Let's get that again.
Serpent which they worshipped. They taught that the ruler of this world was of a draconic form, and
that word might have went past you. The ruler of this world was of gigantic form, meaning he was a giant. A giant. And I told you this, they had to be, and they are depicted as giants because you would have to be a giant to create something this big that is this small in all actuality. You live in a huge ass biosphere up underwater, probably resting on the bottom of water, which is why we're digging up shit and like, damn, where's this from? Because we're actually on a planet called Tiamat, and we all know for a fact, all right, from going in our own oceans, that if you dig up, it's gonna be something down there to see if you dig. I don't give a fuck where you at. It's gonna be something down there to see. So we're on another planet at the bottom of the ocean. All right? And we digging up shit. Is it starting to make sense why we digging up shit and finding shit? Do it make sense why they don't even explore the ocean? Or at least they're not telling you. That's all NASA is doing, exploring the ocean, people. They ain't going up in no outer space. They actually exploring the fucking bottom of the ocean. They looking for ways out of this bitch. They know. You think if I know we live, Bill Nye told you live in a closed system. All right. If Bill Nye knows and I know and everybody else knows, they not spending their time trying to go through this firmament. That's them rockets and shit they shooting up. Man, that's just for play. All right. First of all, if one did penetrate, they already know you're going to flood out the whole biosphere. You're going to kill everybody. That includes them. And just because you penetrated don't mean you're going to get the fuck out. It don't. So that's a suicide mission. What they really doing, which we got a wind of a couple years ago when that huge explosion was in the ocean, these motherfuckers is down there trying to figure out how to get out of this dome into the real water. And they actually made a movie about this shit, all right? But they figuring out how to get out of the dome into the real water and go the fuck up out of here and get to the surface. That's what they really trying to do. Better believe it.
The Ophites attribute all wisdom to the serpent of paradise and say that he was the author of knowledge of men. An amazing declaration which speaks volumes. The guardians of the very history and religion that would become Christianity was in fact based on and fostered by those who worshipped the ancient wise serpent that came and taught mankind.
Now, here goes something interesting about that. In ancient Babylonian text, and I got a clip of me saying this when I did the first Soul Trap session. All right? But in ancient Babylonian text, it's written that, and this is in your Quran. In the Quran, there are, look, so every religion are the top three: the Jews, the Torah, and we loosely say Christianity in the Bible, but also in the Quran, everybody was waiting for a Messiah. In the Quran, it states, all right, because the Jews don't think the Messiah came yet. We know that was Jesus, all right? So Christians got that right, it's Jesus, but y'all done twisted everything this man said into turning him into a god, all right? So now then Yahweh, now understand something. Yahweh sent all of these books, the Torah, the Christian Bible, which is the New Testament, which is called the Injil, the real New Testament, not the one that Paul wrote, all right, the real New Testament. And then you got the Quran coming from the Prophet Muhammad, all right? Consequently, all of those books come from the same deity, not deity, alien, Yahweh, and from the same bloodline come the prophets. On down from Abraham to Moses, Adam is from Abraham to Moses, Moses to Jesus, Jesus to Prophet Muhammad. All connected, all right? All from the same bloodline. In ancient Babylonian texts, so in the Quran it say they'll know when the end times come, when a beast comes from the ocean and teaches mankind knowledge. That is what and I was Muslim for 10 years. That is what Muslims are waiting for, the Dajjal to come. All right? Now, here go the crazy part. In ancient Babylonian texts, it already talks about, which is what he's talking about right now, that this is where they got the knowledge. It already says that a being will come from the ocean and teach mankind knowledge. This happened 4,000 years ago. So could it be that the Muslims are waiting on something that's never going to happen because it already happened? It's just something to think about. But listen to this guy. I'll give him a couple seconds more.
And religion that would become Christianity was in fact based on and fostered by those who worshipped the ancient wise serpent that came. The ruler of this world was of draconic form. It was the dragon, the winged serpent, the shining serpent that could fly. It was ultimately wise.
So this is where China get the dragon serpent at, all right? Because it could fly, all right? But you have to understand, and you got to put stuff in the context. Why was they saying a flying dragon or a flying serpent? Because whatever object they saw in the sky, all right, it was flying, and whatever it was, it looked like a serpent. Okay, look. Remember something. The aliens was gigantic. They were big. They was not human size. And we going back thousands of years where the average height of a human was about what? 5 feet? A 5'6" nigga back then was tall. So you got to put stuff in its proper context. All right? Even if these aliens was only 8, 9, 10 feet tall to a human thousands of years ago, he would be a giant. He would be a giant. You know what I'm saying? Imagine Shaq walking the earth, even in Jesus' time. He would be a giant. They would call Shaq a giant. All right? We almost close to that cutoff point, y'all. I'm telling you.
He should be worshipped as a god. As if in memory of the power of the serpent bloodline, the blood itself was symbolically ingested. A ritual cup was used, known as the cup of the Agathodaimon, meaning simply good serpent.
Whoa! Nah, this dude, he dropping bombshell knowledge on you now. All that communion shit you take in church, and I used to take it. the cup of Jesus' blood and all of that. The true meaning of that deals around the serpent. All right? It's a serpent ritual. This movie is called Ancient Alien Origins, and it is on Tubi in the documentary section. It's free.
Power of the serpent bloodline, the blood itself was symbolically ingested. A ritual cup was used, known as the cup of the Agathodaimon, meaning simply good serpent.
So the cup of the Agatha Daemon, which is what your churches every Sunday or whenever they do communion, that's what your churches are reenacting. This ancient ritual of the of serpent worship. Do your pastor know that? You think my baby mama know that? Nope. You think if she even knew that she would change it and say we ain't gonna do that, or she would explain this to her congregation? Nope. Isn't it funny that pastors and preachers are not trying to obtain knowledge and bring that knowledge back to their churches? I'm really thinking of starting a church of knowledge again, people. I really am. I think the community of knowledge was great at the time, but I think people don't get the emphasis unless it's church of knowledge. I think I think people understand that more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really thinking about starting that again. Like a true church based off knowledge with yours truly as not the preacher or the pastor. I don't want to hold that title or nothing like that, but you know, as spiritual advisor or something, because that's what the soul trap does, is advise your spirit in the afterlife on where you need to go and what you need to do. And I'm really seriously thinking about that. I'm talking about putting it on the books, everything, starting a whole new page, all of that shit, because this is the shit that people need to learn. I mean, this is the stuff that people need to learn. And what disturbs me the most is that preachers and pastors, they not on this. These niggas go to a seminary school in Chicago like my ex did, go to the Billy Graham Seminary School or some goddamn where, learn what this nigga think, and come back and talk like a parrot. They don't do no research on their own. They don't do nothing. They not trying to enlighten people. You know what I'm saying? Not one person in the congregation can stand up, even if they've been researching and say, hold on, hey, Pastor Brown, I was reading the other day from this, that, and the other, and you can't even do that. And why? They'll kick you out the church. You know what I'm saying? This shit is crazy. And I'm serious. I might do it. I ain't bullshitting. I might seriously do the shit. Real talk.
This serpent-consecrated cup of wine was handed around after supper, just like at the Last Supper of Christ, and was received with much shouting and joyousness.
There we go with the shouting and joyousness. The video I just posted, if you didn't see it a couple of posts back, these people in church claiming to get the Holy Ghost. Now, if your religion is based off aliens, in reality, what's going on with these people in the Holy Ghost? Now, you already heard the association of Baal with all of this. And the reason I'm telling you to read my book is because Baal is also associated with the demons. So, okay, you gotta read this book, man. It's just stuff that I be thinking and assuming that y'all know and you don't know. I just told you that these aliens was tall. They was giants. All right, man. I ain't got time to go over all of that with you, man. Get the book, man.
The hymn sung via the serpent to the Supreme Father was just the same as the one sung in the memory of the python at Delphi on the 7th day of the week. Now, thousands of years later, Christians still take the cup of Christ, who was called the Good Serpent by the Gnostics.
Your communions, Jesus is called the Good Serpent, all right? He was a good Anunnaki. He come from the Anunnakis, all right? The only thing Jesus gave to humanity, people, on some real stuff, is what's written in that Talmud of Emmanuel, and you may miss it, all right? But it's in the book, Awakening the God Within, all right? Look, Jesus is one of them. Jesus supports you going into the light, being reincarnated. All that stuff you hear about, in my Father's house, there's many mansions and all of that shit. Hello, it's in here. It's in the dome. All right? But this is not reality. This is their reality. This is why Orlando Brown says This is their realm, and they feel like they have nothing but time because they control everything in this. And unfortunately, they cutting y'all off, and that's what we're gonna have to leave this at. Get the book, get the Soul Trap session, y'all. You don't have much time, all right? And don't depend on, I'm 56. I got diabetes. Don't depend on me to live forever. I'm marked. They can get me at any time. Better get these things while they're still available, because when I'm gone, they won't be. It's your boy. Peace.